Hey guys, so I'm back today with another question because I'm trying truly to understand what it is that makes people think their triggers are the world's problem. So today, my question is, why are your triggers everyone else's problem? And why are we supposed to, as um, as American citizens or any other citizen, why is it our problem to be careful around you? And why is it you think we're supposed to know what triggers you and we're supposed to avoid those topics and make sure that at all times you're okay? I want to know, why is it my job to make sure you're okay, but you have no clue what my triggers might be and what can upset me, if anything, to be honest with you, if anything. Because I'm quite sure in the comments below, you guys are going to have something big time harsh to say about that. And, oh, you should be kind to your neighbor. No, you should this, and oh, you should that. And maybe I should, but you know what? Your triggers are not my problem. If you're triggered by something, it is your responsibility to stay away from what might upset you. First off, if you're a grown person, it is your responsibility to control your emotions. It is your responsibility to control your feelings. And it's not my job to walk on eggshells to make sure you're okay. I mean, I'm not your parent. I'm obviously not your spouse. I am not your sister, auntie, uncle, cousins, whatever. It is not my job to make sure you're okay. Now, with that being said, I hope more than anything, I pray more than anything, that God touch you and heal you from any conflicting issues that you may have that would bring discomfort or uh, re- grief or anything that's not pleasant in your life. I really do. I pray that God would remove these things from your life. I pray that God would bring you comfort and love. I pray that God would just embrace you. Most of all, you have to embrace Him, but I'm not here to preach at you. As much as if you want that, I do have a Bible study group, and I'm more than happy to discuss the Bible with you and how you can get saved. But that's not this channel. This channel is for discussing uh, controversial topics, which this happens to be one. And I'm going to post this on YouTube, and I'm going to post this on Facebook, and I'm going to call it um, same game, another question. Um, because I really just think that's what's going on in this video, but it's also what's going on in this world. Because people are playing a lot of mind games. Nobody wants to be, and I don't want to say nobody. I want to say there are a lot of people out there who don't want to be responsible or accountable, and they just think the world's supposed to revolve around them, and everything's just supposed to be about them. And if it's not, then we're all in trouble, and people want you to walk on eggshells around them. And these same people are in constant grieving mode, and they want you to grieve because they're grieving, and they want you to be sad because they're sad. Because you know the old saying, not that it's a biblical verse, but maybe it should be, but it's not. Misery loves company. I'm not going to join you in your misery. Um, I am not the one to sit around talking about sickness and death with. Ugh. I'm not the one to sit around and talk about sickness and death with you because I'm going to pray healing and life upon you, my friend, because that is what Jesus died for. But again, I digress because that's not what this channel is about. This channel is about discussing controversial uh, topics and, again, talking about your triggers. I think I don't even want to know what your triggers are. First off, that's the thing. You people have been known to get upset because they've been triggered and oh my gosh, you talked and I didn't get a trigger warning. How the hell am I supposed to know what your triggers are? I mean, I don't know your life story. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what's going to trigger you. So let me give you fair warning. Here's a trigger warning. Stay away from Walmart. Stay away from Target. Stay away from the general public. Don't go out to eat. Definitely don't visit the bar room. Stay away from Facebook. Get your happy butt off of YouTube and go curl up in a ball in a corner. Don't bring anyone or anything with you because it could accidentally trigger you because it doesn't know your entire life story. Hell, I would say take a blanket with you, but the blanket might accidentally get too close around your neck and that might trigger you. So, you know, I mean, how in the world are we as people just supposed to guess at your triggers? And furthermore, why should we? I can honestly tell you the only thing that I could say would trigger me would be myself. The only thing that would trigger me would be myself. I allow myself to get annoyed. I allowed myself to get upset. I allowed myself to get angry. I allowed my emotions to take control. I allowed my mouth to overrun my behind. I allowed my attitude to be bad. I mean, and that's where it's at. That's where it's at. Because until you take accountability for your triggers, then it's really a you problem. And I know there's so many people, oh gosh, I can't believe she's saying that. You know, she's never experienced. You know, so many people are gonna be, oh my gosh, she's never experienced what I've experienced. You don't know what I've experienced. You don't have a clue as to what I've experienced. And you're absolutely right. I don't know what you've experienced. How could I? How could I possibly know what you've experienced in life? But if your feelings are that delicate that everyone around you, when you're on the internet, has to be careful. Oh my gosh. Has to don't we don't want to trigger Johnny. We don't want to trigger little Johnny. Please no. Please no. Please don't. Don't talk like this. Don't look like that. Don't speak like this. Don't yawn. Don't speak. You've got no teeth. That triggered Johnny. Oh my gosh, you're eating ice while you're filming a video. That triggered Sally Sue. You know, I mean, come on, dude. Why is it my responsibility to watch out for your triggers? Any more than it's not your job to watch out for my triggers. I'm gonna leave the comments open on this video as well as I did a few others. And I'm just going to let people say what they got to say. Hopefully, you can be mature adults about your comments and, uh, make sense of what you're going to say because, just having hateful, stupid comments just goes to show, you know, your level of whatever. I'm not here on the internet to walk on eggshells. I'm not here on my YouTube channel or my Facebook forum to be careful of your feelings or your emotions. Now, granted, I'm not the type of person who's going to intentionally set out to hurt somebody's feelings. And if I do hurt your feelings and you bring it maturely to my attention, I'm 9 out of 10. I would probably apologize because I'm not sitting out here in the world of the great internet and the world wide web trying. I'm not intentionally out here personally me. I can't speak for others, but I'm personally not here to do any more than play my games, make friends, and make a video or two along the way. I'm not here to hurt people's feelings. I'm not here to validate your feelings, and nor do I need you to validate mine. Um, but I'm not here to walk on eggshells. I'm not here to dance around how I word things or how I misword things or what I do. And I don't expect the people on the other side of my screen because see, I'm sitting here, but you're sitting back here. You're back here, and we're communicating to each other as if we were face to face because we're using our words. And I've had people on the internet upset me because I'm a human being and I'm dealing with another human being, and it doesn't matter if we're countries away, if we're worlds away, it doesn't matter. You know, the 9 out of 10, even on the internet anymore, there's no language barrier because when you're texting something, you can have it translated almost instantly. So again, I'm not setting out to hurt someone's feelings, but then why is it my business to know what triggers you? I mean, 9 out of 10, most people don't read somebody else's profile. And with that being said, then, I'm not going to know you. I'm not going to know the innermost workings of you. Now, with that being said, you're not going to know the innermost workings of me. And that's okay. But at the same time, let us not hold each other accountable for each other's mental illness. And by that, let us not hold each other accountable for what might set the other person off. I should be able to speak freely about my feelings and my emotions. And I'm not talking about misinformation and all that other BS that is now out there. I don't care about that either, to be honest with you, because I have enough intelligence on my own that I don't need a third party, um, Republican or Democrat or anybody else from the government to sift through information for me. I have enough intelligence, and I have enough self control of my emotions and my physical being that I can sift through something that's being told to me or fed to me online, that I can tell for myself what I choose to call truth and what I choose to call a lie. I don't need somebody else to come in for me and go, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's truth, that's truth, that's a lie. I don't need you to come do the sifting for me. I can sift for myself. I can control myself. I don't need you to come in and control me. And see, this is what you're telling me. When you're telling me that I have to be careful talking around you, I have to be careful of your triggers. I have to control you because you can't control yourself. So I can't talk about certain things that might upset you because you might get emotional and you can't handle your emotions. Therefore, I have to handle them for you. That's what you're telling me. You're putting the responsibility of your emotions, you're putting the responsibility of your needs, you're putting the responsibility of your lack of self control. You're dumping all that in my lap and you're saying, hey, I can't control myself, so I need you to control yourself. I need you to control what you say. I need you to control what you do. I need you to control um, what you hint at. I need you to control what your facial expressions because I might get upset. So therefore, you are handing me your self control because of your lack of self control, because of your inability to control yourself. You need me to control you. You can't control your triggers. You can't control your thoughts. You can't control your emotions. You can't control. So therefore, I must. Now let that sink in for a minute. Give that some thought because that's exactly, in a nutshell, what you're telling me. That's exactly, in a nutshell, what you're doing. Is when you expect other people to be mindful of your triggers and your emotions and your mental well being. You're telling them they have to control it because you can't. Because people that can control themselves, their thoughts, their emotions, their actions, people that can take responsibility for themselves, their thoughts, and their actions, don't have to ask somebody else to do it. They don't have to ask somebody else to be mindful. They don't have to ask somebody else to control themselves in order to control them. I don't have to ask somebody else to control what they do in order to control me. I don't have to ask you to watch what you say because I might get upset. I mean, say what you got to say in the comments below, and I might get upset, but I have enough self control to be okay with it. I mean, that's life. We get upset, we get offended, we get annoyed, we get emotional. That's part of life. And it's nobody else's place And it's nobody else's job, it's nobody else's duty. I said it, duty. It's nobody else's duty. Nah, I mean, it's your duty. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I digress. It's your duty to take care of your needs and your issues. It's, you know, it's kind of like this. If my videos annoy you because I don't have teeth, don't watch them. No, 9 out of 10, you could probably learn something. But if my lack of teeth gets on your nerves, my eat nice gets on your nerves, and you're willing to miss a message that you could very well learn from, so be it. Okay, carry on. You know, um, it is what it is. I'm okay with that. I'm not triggered. I promise. If you leave because my eating ice during a video annoys you because I don't have any teeth, bye. Bye. I hate to see you go. I didn't mean to trigger you. And ho, ho, ho. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Um, I digress, people. Sometimes I amuse myself for real, you know, and that's the great thing about being okay in who you are and being secure, getting enough love and attention and security at home and who you are means nothing. Somebody on the other side of that screen tells me is going to affect me in the long run. Now, you might affect me for a minute. You know, you could say, well, and it depends. One of my friends could probably say something and hurt my feelings, but just a random stranger, probably no. And even if you did hurt my feelings, I'd be over it within a matter of seconds because I truly do have a great family support system at home. I have a great two adult sons that live at home and my husband. So I'm going to be okay. You know, I truly don't have any triggers. Um, well, I don't know. My family might tell you different because I am a female and I am one female amongst three. I live with three grown men, my two grown sons, and my husband. And I'm the only female, and I love it. It's great for me because um, rarely am I triggered because I get to do what I want to do pretty much in my house as far as the interior decorating goes, and they're guys, so they don't care. Like I could put something here or throw up a picture there, and they truly don't care. And in that aspect, I am blessed. I do not. I have a grown daughter, but she's married, has a child of her own, and we don't fight and argue over petty things because we don't live together. And they say two women can't live in a household, and we don't, you know, and thus we avoid that. I don't try to run her household, she doesn't run mine. So, you know, I mean, and my two boys that are adults that live here, they don't try to run my household. They grew up in the family and they just haven't moved out yet. You know, the Bible says stay with your parents until you leave with your wife, and that's what they plan to do. So, you know, that's just how we live our life. We live our life according to the Bible, and as godly as we can be. Of course, we mess up sometimes, and if I mess up, like I said, I have no problem if I accidentally hurt your feelings and you tell me in a mature way that I've offended you. If I'm not gonna lie, If I offend you because I wouldn't abide in your lie, I can't apologize for that. If you're Paul Bunyan in a dress and I call you sir, and you're offended because I didn't call you ma'am, I'm sorry that I'm not sorry. I'm not going to hell. The same way you believe that just because you slipped on that dress that you're a female is the same way I believe wholeheartedly that because I read my Bible and the Lord God Almighty touched my heart and soul, that if I truly believe that if I abide in your lie, that I'm going to hell. And that, it doesn't matter whether you're religious or not. Morally, we teach our children that it is wrong to tell a lie. We teach our children that it is wrong to steal. And nowadays, people are teaching their children it's okay to lie. And then, as soon as that child comes home and lies to you, you're going to be ready to spank them or punish them, or hopefully, you're going to raise them. You know, I used to tell people when my boys were young. Now, back home, I raised the girls back home in New Orleans, and people all but demanded that you raised your children because if you didn't, they would. But when I moved here to Missouri, um, I found real quick that people would rather you mollycoddle and pat up and oh, don't do that to your child, and I wasn't one of those. Um, my children, when they earned a spanking, they got a spanking, and I used to tell people, look, when I'm done with them, they're your problem. Just remember that. I used to tell people, look, they're 5 and 6 right now, but in just a few short years, they'll be 16 and 17. They'll be 26 and 27. They'll be 36 and 37. And at that point, they're no longer my problem. They're now yours. And they're possibly your daughter's problems. So now, while they're 6 and 7, you want me to raise them? Or do you want them to figure it out how to act like men when after they marry your daughter and have a couple of kids that they run off with and don't want to see and don't want to be a part of and don't want nothing to do with. Needless to say, today, my sons are 21 and 19, and they don't have illegitimate children. And before you go, well, yeah, they ain't what you do. You know what? I know my children don't have children. I know my children well enough that if they had children, they'd tell me. I don't. I'm not even worried about that. But anyway, it's and you can say what you want. I won't be triggered. It's not the world's responsibility to coddle you or to pat you up or to walk on eggshells or to figure out what your mental illness might be that we might avoid it. It's not my job to figure out what you're grieving. It's not my job to figure out if and or why you're depressed. It's not my job to figure out um, if you're a self harmer or, and if you are, I hope and pray these things away from you. I bind that in the name of Jesus, and I hope you accept that. I am not going to not talk about something on my platforms or in a conversation that I'm having because it might upset your wee little feelings. It's not my job to control your feelings. That's your job. So, whether you agree or don't agree, put your comments below. Let's bring this conversation out in the open. Let's find out whose job it is to control your triggers. Let's open that conversation up. Let's have that conversation. Whose job is it? Is it my job to control and avoid and mollycoddle and nurture and all these other things your triggers, or is it your job? So I'm gonna wrap this up and get it posted before I go to bed tonight, because as you notice, it's dark in here once again, and that's only because I filmed these videos. Well, we've hit the daylight saving time is gone. We've hit that time of year where the daylight savings time is gone. So it's 6 o'clock in the evening, and it's dark in here. But I don't have any lights on because I enjoy watching. I enjoy watching my Christmas light display. So that's why I'm sitting in here in the lit darkness because I enjoy my Christmas lights, because I enjoy Christ, because I enjoy the reason for the season. So leave your comments below. Let me know what you think, whose job it is to guard against your triggers. Whose job is it to guard or avoid, or whose, how can I question this? Whose job is it to be aware of your triggers and avoid them? Whose job is it to avoid your triggers or your trigger subjects? Comment below, guys. Let me know what you think. I'm not here for crazy conversation. If people start talking about, you know, the way I eat ice, or the fact that I have no teeth, let's not be petty childish on the obvious, okay? And no, it's not a trigger. I I would entertain that flow of conversation if I was 5 or 6, but I'm not. So the topic is, and let's stick to it, is whose job is it to avoid or safeguard against your triggers? Comment it below, guys. And I didn't even finish this game because I got off into the conversation again. But if you guys comment below, who knows? I may answer you and I might not. Y'all can answer each other. I may jump in the mix. We'll just see. Hopefully, me not answering or me answering doesn't trigger you. Have a good one.